Bob Odenkirk is an actor, director, comedian, and all-around underachiever who is the star of AMC's new show Lucky Hank, and before that, a couple other shows you might have heard of, Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. His very talented co-star actress Mireille Enos has previously starred in Hannah and The Killing and Sabotage. Joining them today are the team behind the series, showrunners Aaron Zellman and Paul Lieberstein, and along with executive producer Mark Johnson. Welcome, Team Lucky Hank, to South by Southwest Studios.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's start off with the back. I see you.
Ooh,
I see
okay,
you.
we're here.
Showrunners. All right. The pretty people are in the front. We're going to the showrunners. All right. Lucky Hank is an adaptation of Richard Russo's book. Came out in 1997. Straight Man. 25 years to get from page to screen is a pretty long time. Why this show at this moment? Why adapt that story?
Oh, we had to get it right. Took a little while. No, but this man right here was stuck with the book the whole time. He's been with this thing the whole time.
You optioned it 25. You're like, this is going to be a show.
Almost. And I'd known Richard Russo for a while, and we'd been friends, and I'm just a huge fan. And we optioned this, actually at one point set it up at DreamWorks, and we're going to turn it into a feature. Luckily, we worked our way to Sony to TriStar, and very thankfully to AMC, and found these two guys.
These two, and you're like, all right.
Yeah.
I just want to read what New York Times said about this. Okay. New York Times Review of Books declared, Straight Man strikes me, quote, as the funniest, serious novel I have read since, well, maybe since Portnoy's Complaint. No pressure.
Wow.
Right.
So when you see that, when you have the weight of that, you're like, all right, I'm going to translate that to the screen. What's the process like?
Many drafts till we get it
Many
right.
drafts. Yeah, kind of daunting, scary. We wanted to do right by Richard Russo.
And when
you originally wrote a half-hour
Yes.
show.
Yeah.
And when you found Bob, you're like, we finally got it.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, once we had written the script actually before we found Bob, but everybody thinks we wrote it for Bob because he was so perfect. And then, of course, once you get Bob Odenkirk, you write
The
to
Bob
him.
Odenkirk?
The Bob Odenkirk. So it, then once he was attached, it really was written for him, So
And the character, it's a great character. It's a great setting. I am a recovering English major. The show kind of breaks my heart. We'll talk about that in a second. It pains me. There's a New Yorker article, and now this is too much.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
You're the only one I've talked to about the New York article. Do you know about it?
No.
Do you know about it?
Tell us about the New Yorker article.
I haven't read it myself, but I can't wait to read it.
It's about.
I heard it's sad.
Is this
it's
the
a-
depth?
The decline of the English
Yes.
major.
The
Oh,
decline of the
Decline
English
of the
major.
English department at colleges and everywhere, because you're all on the damn TikTok.
Get off the TikTok and read a book. It's about it's a midlife crisis. It's an English professor, the head of the chair in
Yeah.
the English department.
Yeah.
In a town, in a
In a small
town.
college.
in a small college.
And his life goes awry, but naturally, kind of because he's just been sitting on it for a long time, and nothing's changed. And Lily, Murray plays Lily, and we're a couple, married for 25, 26 years at this point, and everything starts to crumble. And so
In the first
he's
episode.
not lucky. Lucky Hank is ironic and sarcastic and mean. And but it's a great title, Lucky Hank, and it's on AMC, where it's just a character study more than anything. And you were talking about comedy and drama mixed so almost evenly.
Yeah.
And so it's a unique show. And I read that when I read it, and I thought, after Saul, I really wanted to do something with comedy in it. And this show is using the interior drama that I got into at Saul, and that show was built on,
Right.
and then mixed with comedy, because this character is always making jokes, and there's a lot of humor in the scenarios and the characters, but it's all kind of depth. Jeez Louise, somebody's getting an important call.
That was from a rival network right now. With the show running at the same time, sabotage. But the humor comes from the richness of characters, the fact that the people there don't want to be there, but they're trying to find meaning in their life. It's mined from enough reality where it's grounded. And here comes your character.
Yeah.
Your character is, I would say, the better half here, where his life is and
Yeah.
your life is doing pretty well.
She's reaching for something.
Yeah.
Because she sees, I think for a long time, she has been the cheerleader and supporter of their happy life, except that their life doesn't feel so happy right now. And he's coming off the rails, and she can't solve that for him. And so she starts asking herself some big questions too about what else. Why didn't we make other choices?
The move to New York.
The move to
Why
New York.
didn't I take that job?
Exactly. The ideas about education that she had locked in her brain, what she wanted to do with that. And so she goes to try to answer those questions.
And runs also. And
Yeah, she
don't
does.
interrupt her run,
Don't
sir.
interrupt my run.
Yeah, is she running away? And how hard do I have to chase her?
But you, the first episode, we see you chasing. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
You know, we're at certain. You all are young. I might be older than all of you, but
Oh,
we're
I
in a
don't-
certain. So we have enough mileage, right? And you watch the show, and I'm in my 40s, and you sit there and go, okay, the midlife crisis. Not really a crisis. It's just a moment. Death and birth hit you at waves, and it makes you
Yeah.
think about life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this show is about that. It's characters
Yeah,
at a
yeah.
crisis.
I see it as like everybody has chapters in their lives.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can see one coming, and you sense it like, oh man, everything. Obviously, if you're graduating college, you go, everything's going to be different in a month from now, and for the rest of my life is going to be different.
I'm gonna live
from
forever.
this, unless I go to grad
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
One of the reasons people go to grad school. But we all have these chapters, and I think this couple, and as it turns out, English departments all around the whole
And former English majors.
country, but also in academia, things are changing. But certainly in this private lives of this couple, they are come to the end of a chapter, and whether they saw it coming or not, here it is. And what are they going to do next? And how bad are they going to try to keep things patched together, or just let things fall apart, or find the way forward?
And I want to bring in, it's not just the younger generation and your generation, but without giving too much away, the character, he's keeping even keel in that first episode, even though there's all this crisis. But then the father comes.
Yeah.
And that seems to, the lip biting happens
the
right
tipping
there.
point.
The lip
I'll
biting
tell you,
just happened right now.
That's because you spoiler alert. But yes, things happen in this show. It's one of the things I love about the writing these guys did, besides for it being funny and rich in character and humanity. A lot of shows that you watch on TV, especially if they're in the comedy category, are about the characters remaining the same. And this is a really interesting character study where the characters, both of us,
changing.
and the other characters,
Yeah.
everybody
Are in
gets
a
to
moment
kind
of
of
and
go
you see the
through.
seeds in the first episode.
Yeah, they all
Yeah.
get to go through changes in the course of 8 episodes.
Yeah.
And so it's going to reward you if you stay with it. Things will happen. It's not like your normal show where I don't need to watch the next one. It'll just be the same world when I come back to it. It won't. It's constantly mutating.
You should have Bob be the publicist for the show. He's doing a pretty good
I'm
job.
happy to be the publicist
But speaking about stretching, right? So
for Lucky Hank on AMC.
we saw Mireille. I was telling you right before the show. So yesterday was a Mireille Fest, I put on Netflix. World War Z, Mireille's in it, and I'm watching Sabotage.
You've only seen her with guns,
Yeah,
screaming and running.
killing,
That's right. Yeah, the killing.
just serious stuff.
Very
but then
serious stuff.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like a
And
dramatic
here
comedy
she's
show
so funny, so sweet, so warm.
with depth and layers.
Yeah, and
Like, why do this at this stage of your life? This role.
Well, I mean, the truth is I started in New York on stage playing bananas, playing like
Literally banana?
yeah,
All right.
whole costume. And mostly storytelling is storytelling, whether it's serious or comedic. It's storytelling, and then my career had kind of shifted more and more into this kind of storytelling.
good. I can't even do
thank
that.
you.
That's-
And I just wanted to be a person on the planet again.
But I think you're selling yourself short. In those stories where you have the gun, it's not just
It
the
is-
gun. It's
there's still
You grounded it,
humanity.
right?
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah.
Because I worked on The Killing with her, and I knew how.
You're like, that's a comedy style.
Oh yeah, this one's funny. No, she was, and if you watch that show again, I mean, carefully, all the stuff between her and Joel is
Yeah.
there's a lot of humor in that, a lot of comedy.
And it shows in just the small quirks here in this particular show. And also the English department's hilarious.
it's a great group of
It's
actors.
amazing. All those
You
actors are-
recognize most of them
Yeah.
from somewhere else
Yeah.
because they've all had huge careers. Diedrich Bader has the longest IMDb page of anyone you know. Or I
Voice
know.
acting, comedy. He's His Twitter game is very strong
Cedric
also.
Yarbrough is fantastic.
They make the most. They
Suzanne
come in
Cryer.
with that line, but they make
And
the
some
most of it.
fresh faces that are awesome. You know, Nancy Robertson and Shannon DeVito.
And you know, we got to get Mark in. I was told, Hall of Fame producer, Mark.
Yeah.
You got the trifecta. You got Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, now you got this, which I have to ask. Can you not quit him or can he not quit you? What's happening here?
He didn't give me the script.
Oh! Cold-blooded.
He tried to keep me away.
Bob's like, the 4 people said no, Bob. You want to...
Yeah. What are you up to, Mark? Oh, nothing really.
We got Mireille. She's going to be awesome. But what made you think, all right, let me go to Bob with this?
He did.
Well, I didn't.
After everyone else said no.
Aaron did. What happens is we had this wonderful script, trying to figure out what to do with it, and then Aaron, he'll tell you, had a meeting with Bob and gave it to him. He said, "Hey, I gave a straight man to which it was then called. I gave it to Bob Odenkirk. What do you think?" It's like one of those. Why didn't I do that? And then I know why I didn't, because I was worried it was going to sort of interrupt the flow, what he
we
was
were
doing.
shooting Saul.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
He thought he was
Like,
unavailable.
oh yeah, no, good to see you, Bob. Here, read this.
We were nowhere near the end
Right.
of the last season
Right.
when I got this.
And you're like, Bob's going to say no. You're like, give it to me.
Well,
I'm hungry.
I get a fair number of things. People send a lot. I just don't read most of it. Sorry.
I was
but
sure you wouldn't read this script. That
This
was
one
amazing.
I read, and I enjoyed it so much, and it was so different from Better Call Saul. And I'm always looking for that dynamic change, and probably one of the reasons you love this so much.
100%.
You know, as actors, I mean,
Shows the
I'm
range.
always surprised at actors who get a role, a singular role, and love doing it. And that happens too for 25 years, you
Yeah.
know? I'm always
You wanna
like,
keep
why'd you get
coming at
into
it
this
from
business?
different-
If you want to do the same thing every day, you know, definitely go to the post office, you know, and work there.
No offense to post office.
No, not at all.
Post office workers
but
are very
some
creative.
people want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to still get my mail. But you know, I mean, didn't you get into this business to go, I'm going to, you know, do an action thing, and then I want to do comedy, and then I want to play this, and I want to play that, and that's the fun.
Yeah.
And so this was so, at its core, different from Saul.
You know, we're talking about the range, right? So you went from drama to comedy, and you were saying that the last time you did comedy was Yale Theater?
Well, I mean, I did Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf on Broadway.
Hilarious.
But it is hilarious. It is.
Cutting humor.
Yeah, it is. The first act is really funny,
Yeah.
and then, you know, then it's less funny. But
But the flip here is interesting because you're known for drama, you're going to comedy.
Yeah.
And I'm an old head. I remember I saw Bob on the HBO show, Mr. Show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you directed movies, Let's Go to Prison.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
do that well, but I
No.
think it's cult following right
Didn't
now.
do well at all.
Yeah, dude, I was trying to be charitable. Just
But it's okay.
Very generous. But
Yeah.
at this stage, so many people know you now for your like Emmy-nominated actor.
Yeah.
Bob, would you have ever thought?
Well, I'm
Looking
an
back.
Emmy winner
Oh, Emmy
for
winner.
writing.
Oh,
For writing.
My bad. So Emmy winning and Emmy nominated
Yeah.
writer and actor.
Yeah,
Did you ever
so in acting, people are still a little like, I don't know.
I don't know about that guy.
They're
We need,
up for-
we need Lucky Hank to see it.
Yeah.
But did you ever think, looking back, you know, the arc of the career, that's what the midlife crisis does, it forces you to reflect.
Yeah.
That both of you, I'd be here at this position doing this role now. I'll start with Bob, especially that you started in comedy.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I never sort of put myself forward in dramatic acting. It was by chance that Vince Gilligan asked me to play Saul Goodman. I didn't read for it. I probably read for 2 or 3 dramatic parts in my life, and they weren't even like full dramatic parts. I read for some Alexander Payne films. But I do remember when I was younger on stage at Second City with Chris Farley and Jill Talley, very funny woman, Mr. Show cast member. And we were doing an improv, and the audience is right here, and they're being so funny, and I'm doing my part. And I remember thinking, I shouldn't be here. I should be in a drama. I remember thinking,
Well,
you know,
you
if
were-
I was in a
you were with
drama,
Farley.
I
Everyone-
could be
everyone
the
might feel that way
funniest
with
person
Farley,
in
yeah.
the drama on the stage. Instead, I'm on stage with Chris Farley, and I can't compete with that.
I have to rethink my life
I never
choices, though.
pursued
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And so I would never have predicted that I would have gotten to where I've gotten to. But I did think that my countenance, my energy would fit well in drama. And I remember the first scene I did with Bryan Cranston on Breaking Bad in Saul's office, and I remember the camera being right here, which in comedy it's rarely close like that. He's two-shot and stuff. I remember thinking, oh, this is so great because I can just dial it down. I can play the internal energy of this guy, and it'll read. It'll be on that screen. And I just remember sort of being able to exhale. And so, you know, I think I had an instinct that I could work in this area, but I just didn't want to pursue it because acting is heartbreaking. It's a hard job to do. And if you're a writer, well, you just sit down and write. You know, it doesn't mean you'll sell everything.
You write easy stuff.
You won't sell everything, but you can at least do something on every day of the week that hopefully makes you feel somewhat accomplished or rewarded. And so I didn't like not having that control, which an actor has to, you know, hope that the world sees their talents.
We see it, we recognize it. And Mira, you know, I remember Uma Thurman one time said she did a comedy, a rare comedy. She goes, this is so hard.
Yeah.
And this was after she got nominated. She goes, this is the most difficult thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're able to flex those comedy muscles now, is it more difficult than doing the dramatic? I tried my best.
Yeah, you did good. You did great. Well, you know, in a way, doing drama, there's a restfulness about it because you can, like Bob was saying, you can just be still. Actually, a lot of the time, you just can be still with the camera, and that stillness is restful, but also like you don't get the kind of the adrenaline burst as when you're doing this. And I have to admit that the first few weeks of this, I was like, maybe I don't know how to do it anymore. You know, I was nervous.
Rest assured, you're awesome. You're great.
So awesome.
You're so, she was great. I'm not just saying,
Amazing.
like I told
and in
you all.
the course of 8 episodes, when you see what she does with this character, it's beautiful.
And we're
It's
not
amazing.
just saying this. Look, we have to see some stuff sometimes. Not the best.
Yeah.
We saw the screener. It was myself and the crew. We all enjoyed it.
Good.
We all
good,
really
good,
liked it,
good.
and it got me
Okay,
hooked in.
before you go on, I have to help you and Marie out. Here's how you hold a pistol, okay? You sort of push this hand against here, and you put that arm full out. And where do you have the gun? Where's the
clip,
gun?
I'm left-handed.
You grab the
Oh,
new
you're
one,
left-handed.
you put it
This
in.
guy's pulling.
You go like
No,
this.
his arm is. See, all right, watch a Steven Seagal
He
movie,
just gave up on it.
and then you'll see the wrong way. That's the
Yeah,
wrong way.
elbows in.
This is the wrong
in.
way. Lazy,
You have to be really
sloppy.
tight here.
This
And you
looks
have to
good.
Kind
This-
of put
Yeah.
a little pressure there
Yeah.
for aiming well. But you want to see shitty TV movie gun acting. It's this thing where the gun is kind of like loosely hanging out.
So that'd be me. That'd be me.
A stunt girl. I was pregnant shooting season 4 of The Killing, and so I wasn't allowed to run up the stairs. And the stunt girl took my place, and she ran up the stairs like this. I wanted
the
to
gun?
kill
You're like,
her. I was like,
worked
I
too
would
hard.
never do
You
that.
tell all your friends.
Yeah,
you get on the
I'm so
WhatsApp.
mad.
You're not
I'm
gonna
so
hit
I have.
grumpy.
I unfortunately have another minute. Thank you all for
Yeah.
your time. But I give a shout out to actors. Alan Ruck is here in the house. Where is Alan Ruck?
Pop
Alan,
over here.
Alan, just come on in. We have Alan Ruck, who is the spouse of Mireille, also
Yeah.
known as Cameron on Ferris Bueller, and also on Succession.
All right.
Talking about comedy and drama and a fixture of my childhood. I just got to give a prop.
That's cool.
Come on.
Totally cool. I like him crashing the picture.
Hello, sir. You're not part of the cast, so you don't get a mic, but we just this is a walk-on.
Yeah.
This is a walk-on. You seeing your wife's performance in this show, your response?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh!
I
All
saw
right.
it tonight.
He
It's
sees it
fantastic.
tonight.
It's fantastic.
I figured so.
Last question. Bob, 2 years ago, you had a health crisis.
Yes, I did. I had a
You were
heart attack.
trending. Anytime someone trends on Twitter, I get scared when it's a celebrity, but it was a near-death experience.
Yeah. Yes.
And people found out, and it was a rare moment where the Twitter universe came together.
Yeah.
Just with an outpouring of love.
Yes, they did.
And I was like, wow.
Missed all of it.
No, it was there. And I was like, now that you reflect on it, how does it make you feel? Not a single snarky thing, just love.
I don't know what to say. I'm knocked out by this response that happened, and I heard about it over the next couple weeks because I really had this loss of memory during the whole, obviously the whole incident, and then even the week after, and even sort of a few weeks trickling forward. And so I had to hear about this from everybody, and a couple times. I don't know what to say except thank you to everyone who expressed such warmth towards me. And I kind of am curious why. Because I
take
said,
it, man. Take it.
I'll take it.
Take it.
But, you know, I play rascals mostly. In Lucky Hank, I play a crabby guy. I think you can like crabby guys, though.
Very
especially
likable.
older
He's a
crabby
likable
guys.
crab.
But all I can say is thank you, everyone, and I love you back. And please stay safe and healthy, and I will try to as well.
A lot of talent here. I grew up watching Alan in Ferris Bueller's Day Off,
sure.
so this is a moment for me as
yeah,
well.
big moment.
Crushing it in Succession. Good
Yeah.
luck. Final
Yes.
season coming out. We got Lucky Hank, though, here coming out. Mireille, so glad that you're flexing the comedic talent.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be
Bob,
back.
glad that you're here with us. Stay
Thanks,
safe. Showrunners in the back, the writers, I see you. I see you.
Still
and
see us.
Mark, next time, give him the script, man. Give it to him first. All right, Lucky Hank premieres March 19th on AMC, and you can check out our complete interview schedule at sxsw.com/studio. And our studio interviews are live streaming during the conference on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/sxsw. I'm your host, Wajat Ali, and thanks for watching.